today we're going to be doing a 60-minute yin yoga class. So if you're new to the practice of yin, this is a much slower class style, really focused on releasing through the deep connective tissue and fascia throughout the body. Because of that, we tend to hold the poses for a lot longer, usually about 5 or 6 minutes per side, because we know that the fascia responds best to really long, slow, deep holds. And while it is a slow practice, it can be quite intense for some people, especially if this is your first yin class, or if you're not used to kind of sitting still and letting your body kind of work into the pose. So just know that it's normal to kind of feel a little frustrated. It's normal to clench through the jaw, and just kind of recognize that, and try and stay in the pose if you can. But of course, if you need to come out, if anything feels painful or uncomfortable, definitely sort of make your way out of the pose and then try going back in. Another really interesting thing about yin yoga is that it incorporates a lot of things from traditional Chinese medicine. So it's said that the yin poses can open up specific meridian channels throughout our body, and the meridian channels are the way that energy or qi flows between our organs. So there's different poses to open up different parts of the body. Today's class will be what's considered an earthy practice. We'll be focusing a lot of the poses from the earth element, and I've chosen this specifically in this state that we're in at the moment, when we're kind of being bombarded with a lot of news and updates and changes, and that kind of feeling of being pulled in a lot of different directions, feeling a bit scatterbrained, and this kind of rapid changing can make us kind of feel like we're losing our footing. So the earth element and the poses associated with that are really good for grounding you down, and helping you find calm in the chaos. So we'll be doing poses that kind of help us ground down today. So I hope you leave feeling really grounded. I prefer to just walk you in and out of the poses and letting you know kind of when we're coming to the end of a pose. I won't be doing a lot of talking while you're in the pose. I have created a little playlist for those of you that need music or background noise. So just search for Yoga with Aimie on Spotify, or just click the link below this video. We're gonna get started in a child's pose, in a wide-legged child's pose. I'd like you to have, for today's class, if you can, 2 pillows. They can be from the couch or the lounge, or from your bed, whatever is available for you. They will just help you kind of support you as you go into your poses. And just know that I will be touching my phone throughout this class just to keep a time to make sure we're doing poses even on the sides. So if you see me touching my phone, that's why. But yeah, let's get started. So starting in your wide-legged child's pose, I'm gonna bring our toes together and our knees wide, so about the distance of our mat. We're gonna bring the pillows in between our thighs. So this is good if you have pillows from your bed. They're a little bit longer, and can provide support up your entire front plane. So just sinking your hips back into your heels, and then walking your chest and sternum forward, and walking your hands forward, and just bringing one ear down to the pillows, and just sinking down into the pillows, making sure your hips are still sinking back over your heels. And then just relaxing into the pose. I'll let you know when it's time to change sides so your opposite ear is down. So just listen for my cue. taking a moment here to bring your opposite ear down to the mat or the pillows. Just letting your body re-sink back down into those pillows. Your hips are sinking down into your heels. And then just gently bring your chin back through center. And walking your hands back towards your knees. And then just moving the pillows out of the way. We will be using them for the rest of our poses. We're going to be coming into toe stand next, which can be quite an intense pose for a lot of people. I actually don't know anyone that likes this pose, but I want you to come up onto your knees and tuck your toes under, and then sink your hips back onto your heels. So this pose should feel quite intense, and if it is unbearable or painful, just bringing your hands down onto the mat and putting a little bit of weight into your palms or your fingertips, that can relieve a little bit of the tension. If you can, try staying up here for as long as you can. This pose is really important because, especially with an earthy practice, our feet are often the point that is in contact with the earth, but it's often something that's overlooked in a lot of yoga poses. So it's really nice to stretch those feet out. And I don't know about you, but in this particular time, I'm not doing as much walking or running or sort of outdoor activity that I usually am. So my feet aren't getting that sort of movement that they would usually be getting. So I think it's important that we kind of take a moment to stretch out those feet. We won't be here for as long as we are for the other poses. So just trying to settle in, trying to find that calm within the chaos. Just know that you can come out of it at any time. We have about 10 more breaths here. Sometimes I find that counting the breath is a welcome distraction from the sensation in my feet. And then just gently rocking your weight forward off those toes. Bring your palms down. Untuck those toes. Just resting onto the tops of your feet. You can give yourself a little bit of a tap here if that feels good. And then just sinking your hips back onto your heels and just coming back up to rest with your hands in your lap. Just letting that feeling wash away through your feet. Coming through to a tabletop pose. So we've got our hands stacked under our shoulders and our hips stacked over our knees. We're going to lift the right leg up and just step it outside that right hand. Pushing down through the hands, tuck the back toes under and just shift that left knee back a little bit and bringing it back down onto the mat. So we're in our lizard pose here, or in yin, this is known as our dragon pose. So I recommend staying here for the first 10 or so breaths. And then we'll move closer to the ground using our pillows. But lizard or dragon is, quite an intense inner thigh stretch and hip opening stretch. So I like to really ease my way into it. You can choose to stay here if this is enough for you. If you'd like to go a little deeper, bringing those pillows right up against that left quad and inside that right foot. And then you can either come down onto your elbows on top of those pillows, giving yourself a little bit of a deeper pose but still the support. Or if you want to take this deeper, you can wrap your arms around your pillows like you're giving them a big hug. Come down onto your elbows and then release the left ear down onto the pillows. This is quite intense, so if you came down to this pose and you're just not feeling it, just coming back, bring your elbows on top of the pillows or coming back onto your palms. We have another minute or so in dragon here. So if you want to try rolling onto the outer edge of that right foot, lifting the inner seam of your right foot off the ground. It's a nice way to gently change the location of the stretch. So just play with that and see how your body reacts. And then if you rolled onto the outer edge of that foot, just planting the sole of the foot back down on the ground. If you're on your elbows, just coming back up onto your hands, releasing those pillows. Just being super gentle and very slow with our movements here. And then pushing those pillows off to the side. We're gonna make our way straight into swan pose here. So swan is also known as pigeon pose. So if you're familiar with your pigeon, you can go there. If this is new to you, I just want you to bring that right foot across your mat so it's behind your left wrist. And just bringing the shin towards parallel with the top of the mat. Just lifting that back knee off the ground and shifting it back just a little bit. Now this is quite an intense pose. You can choose to stay here and eventually make your way down into sleeping pigeon on your pillows. If you know that this is a pose that you're not going to be able to hold for a few minutes, I suggest potentially moving into deer pose. And to move into deer pose, we're just shifting on to the right hip, bringing that left knee in and tucking that left heel towards the glute. Then you'll twist forward over that front shin and come down onto your pillows or onto your elbows. So just choosing here between deer, which is this pose, can also be done with your pillows. Or making your way into swan or half pigeon with that back leg extended long. You can still draw your pillows here into your stomach, and then coming down, bringing that right ear down to the mat. Just finding which one works for you, or maybe you'll take one pose and then decide to shift into the other, depending on how you're feeling. Just know that either pose is not better or worse than the other. It's just depends on what your body needs in this moment. Now we have about 1 more minute here. So just notice if you're holding tension in your jaw or your forehead. Just relaxing it down. Just letting your body and any tension release into the ground beneath you. And then when you're ready, gently turning your chin back to center. Walking your palms back underneath your shoulders. Just moving those pillows out of the way. Just grounding down through your hands, drawing that back knee in. Just step that right knee back to meet the left, sinking the hips back down onto the heels into a little child's pose here, with your arms reaching long back beside you. Your forehead's resting into the mat. Just notice how that right side feels in comparison to the left side. And then just making your way back through to your tabletop pose. So our hands are stacked under the shoulders, our knees are hip distance apart, and then just lifting that left knee off the ground and stepping that left foot outside that left hand, grounding down through those hands. Tuck the back toes under, lift that back knee off the ground and just wiggle that back knee back just a few inches. So we're back in our lizard or our dragon here, as it's known in Yin yoga. And once again, we're going to stay here on our palms for a little bit as we ease into the pose, and then eventually making our way down towards the ground. And just know that it's normal if this side feels different. It might be tighter and you might not be able to make your way back down onto the ground or onto those pillows. And if you want to take this deeper, that first option is to bring those pillows up against that right quad and inside that left foot. Just coming down onto your elbows here. And you might find that already this is enough for you. Or if you want to take this to that next step, you can wrap those arms around the pillows. Bring the right ear down onto the mat or the pillows. My body's telling me that I'm not quite ready for that step yet, so I'm just going to bring my elbows down onto the pillows here and release a little more. Just know that at any stage you feel like you've gone too far or your body needs to come out of the pose a little bit, just know that it's okay. You don't have to struggle through the deepest variation. The benefit of doing this practice in your own home is that you're only with yourself. There's no one around to compare yourself to. You can just honor exactly what your body needs in that moment without feeling like you should be doing something else. We have about 1 minute more here. If you want to roll onto the outer edge of that left foot, you can do that now. Just rolling the inner seam, the inner arch of that foot off the ground and really rolling into the pinky toe side. We'll just gently change the location of the stretch. Releasing down for your last few breaths. Really melting into the pillows or the ground. Releasing through the neck and the jaw. If you rolled onto the outer edge of that left foot, just planting the sole of that foot down. If you're on your elbows, coming back up onto your hands. Just shifting those pillows away from you. We're going into our pigeon or in yin, our swan. So to do that, you'll just wiggle that left foot across your mat and bringing it down behind the right hand. Shifting that back knee back a little bit, playing it on the ground. So know that you can stay here up in your swan, or you can bring those pillows in, coming down and bringing that left ear down onto the pillows. If that feels right for you, stay there. If not, you want to go into that deer pose, just shifting your left glute down onto the ground, bending through that right knee and bringing it up towards the left foot, and then bringing the heel of that right foot towards your glute, twisting back forward towards the top of your mat, taking those pillows onto that left knee and then just collapsing into those pillows, left ear into the mat. So just choosing an option here between deer and swan that feels most appropriate for you today. And if you're in your swan and you have quite a bit of space under that left glute, you can take a pillow or a blanket and just fill that space to provide more support. Just notice if you're clenching your jaw or holding tension in your eyebrows. Just releasing those face muscles. One more minute in our swan or our deer pose here. So allowing yourself to really sink down into the pillows and the ground beneath you. Just gently bringing your chin back to center, walking those hands underneath your shoulders, rolling on to that left knee and just shifting that left leg back. So we're in our tabletop pose here. And then just sinking the hips down to the heels, bringing the hands long beside the body and back towards the feet, forehead resting on the ground. Now, child's pose here. Just letting the benefits of those deep hip opening poses to sink into the body. And then just gently making your way back up onto your hands. And we're just gonna sit down, coming down onto our backs. I'm going to bring the pillows beside us. I'm going to roll down gently onto our backs, bending through the knees, planting the soles of the feet on the ground. Palms are facing down beside us on the ground. We're going to roll up into a bridge pose here, and then we're going to bring the pillows under our sacrum, so we're in a supported bridge. So on your inhale, just gently rolling up through the lower back, the mid back, the upper back, and just taking your pillows, maybe you coming on to the toes, just to create some more space here. Just resting your sacrum back down onto those pillows, making sure your feet are still hip width distance apart. Then bringing your arms overhead, clasping opposite elbows with opposite hands. Just feeling the weight of your lower back and your hips sinking into the pillows. And just gently switching your arms over so the opposite arm is on top. releasing your hands from your elbows. Gently rolling your sacrum off the pillows and just pulling them out to the side. And rolling back down to the mat, vertebra by vertebra. Taking your feet as wide as the mat and just letting your knees knock together in the middle. Bring your hands to your belly. Heel toeing your feet back into hip distance apart. We're going to shift the hips over to the right of our mat just a little bit, and then cross the right knee over the left knee. So we're in just like a little eagle pose here. We're going to take the arms out to a T, and then just letting the knees fall over to the left, just landing on your pillow for some support. Of course, if you want to take this deeper, you can always remove one of the pillows so your knee sinks further down towards the ground. We're in twisted roots here. We have about 1 more minute here. Just breathing into the space that you're creating throughout your body. Letting that right shoulder really fall and melt into the ground. Gently bringing your chin back to center and drawing your knees back to center. Releasing that right knee from your left knee. Just taking your pillows to the other side. Shifting your hips over to the left just a little bit. Taking that left knee crossed over the right knee, so a little eagle pose here. Arms are out to a T, and just letting those knees fall down to the right, landing on top of that pillow or both pillows. And maybe taking your gaze over to the left, looking out over that left arm. We have about 1 more minute here. Just continuing to take deep breaths, feeling the left shoulder melting into the mat. Bring your chin back to center. And bring those feet, those knees back to center. And crossing the left knee from the right knee. And just reaching your legs out long. And then reaching your arms up long over your head. Just really stretching as far as you can, reaching. Just releasing. We're just going to take just a moment here to stretch out before we move into our happy baby. Just letting the body lengthen after that twist. And then bending through the knees. And lifting the knees off the ground, taking your hands around the outer edges of those feet. If they're not quite within reach, just bring your hands to your shins or your ankles. And then drawing those knees down towards your armpits or to the ground beneath you. Just finding a place here that feels comfortable. Just finding a place of stillness here. Finding that happy baby is not serving you. You can always make your way into Supta Baddha Konasana. So with your knees wide, the soles of your feet together. Just bring your hands to your heart and to your belly. So just choosing the pose here that feels like it'll serve you best. Just notice here if you're holding tension in your shoulders or your neck or your jaw. Just releasing all of it down into the ground beneath you. And from your happy baby here, just squeezing your knees into your chest. Just wrapping your hands around your shins and just gently rocking from side to side. And on your next inhale, we're going to squeeze everything in, forehead towards the knees. We're going to release down into our Shavasana. If you're someone who likes to have the knees supported in your Shavasana, you can just bring that pillow underneath your knees. Just still coming into your Shavasana here with your feet splayed wide, your hands resting by your sides, and the pillow supporting the back of your knees. And then just resting into the ground. And just know that I'll call you out of Shavasana when it's time. There's no rush here.
Gently becoming aware of the breath in your body. Maybe bring some movement to your fingers and your toes. Circling your wrists and your ankles. Keeping your eyes closed. Bending through the knees and planting the soles of your feet on the pillow or the mat. Just letting your body fall to the left-hand side. Rolling on to that left arm as a little pillow. And then just gently making your way up into a comfortable seat, keeping those eyes closed down. Bringing the hands together in front of your heart. And just feeling the sit bones sinking down into the ground and the earth beneath you. And just know that the more we ground down, the more we can rebound later. I honor the space inside you in which the entire universe dwells. It is a place of peace and love and truth and happiness. When you're in that place in you and I'm in that place in me, we are one. Namaste.